to explain the two honorees of the Kesed Torah Award who come from the Syrian community in Deal, to explain their connection to Lakewood Yeshivah. I have to go back over 20 years ago when we left Lakewood to become part of the Kollel in Detroit, and I was there for 3 years, and I received a call about 11 o'clock at night from Rabbi Zatzal, and he said to me, "Are you comfortable there? You're too comfortable. I want you in my office tomorrow morning. Take a plane. We're having a meeting about opening up a kollel for Sephardim." And from that meeting, eventually, the Deal Kollel was opened in 1978. And it was that same year that Eddie Missry had approached me and told me about his ailing father, who was paralyzed in a wheelchair. And he said, "Does your kollel provide services for a rabbi to come to my home and talk Torah with my father, put on his tefillin, and mechazik him?" And the truth was, I didn't know if we had such a service, but I was new in town, and I wanted to make a proper impression. So without hesitation, I said, "Yes, we have somebody for you," thinking that Rabbi Mordechai Nahem, who was the Amud HaChesed, was the perfect man for the job. Well, let me tell you that Rabbi Mordechai Nahem not only learned Torah with his father, put on his tefillin, but when the nursing aides were absent, he bathed him, he took care of him. And Eddie Missry told me that this was the first time he was exposed to a true Ben Torah, a Ben Torah that exemplified all the highest ideals of our Torah, the anivus, the chesed, the shleimus, the perfection. And this was what turned on Eddie Missry to want to learn in the kollel. So we put him b'chavrusa with Rav Mordechai Nahem. And this was 16 years ago. And for the last 16 years, Rav Mordechai Nahem and Eddie Missry formed a chavrusa team, a Yisachar Zevulun team, that they became the Amudim of Chesed in our community. Rav Mordechai Nahem, besides his knowledge as a Talmud Chacham, but the Chesed that he has shown in every aspect of our community in Deal, has made him a model and a living Kiddush Hashem for all those who know him. And Eddie Missry has become Rosh for Rishon for every cause of Torah in our community, whether it be that he served as president of the Deal Yeshivah, aiding Rabbi Dweck in Deal, or helping out in the Hillel school, and in all the kollels, and helping Torah in general. This has been truly a magnificent team, Eddie and Rabbi Mordechai Nahem, and both of them truly deserve the Kesed Torah Award. Please step forward to receive the award. There you go. In front of the chair.
A few weeks ago, I called Rabbi Klein to ask him if we could make slight change on the invitation. We asked if it's possible to read that Eddie Missry and Mordechai Nahem would like to honor the Lakewood Yeshivah. The invitations were out already. But the truth of the matter is that it is an opportunity to reflect on the time that we came to the yeshiva of Lakewood some 25 years ago, and I found myself inundated in a sea of Talmidei Chachamim whose sole interest in life was to learn Torah. And from the spirit that was imbued by Rav Aaron, alav shalom, when he founded the yeshiva, the air of the yeshiva was that you don't learn to become something. If you learn, you are something. I was zeicher to be in the yeshiva for 9 years under the guidance of Rav Shneir, alav shalom, who had a warm and personal relationship with every one of the Sfardim, especially among all the Talmidim, but especially for the Sfardim. And in fact, as Rabbi Diamond mentioned, he was the driving force for us to set up a kollel and deal. And we would just like to express our tefillah that the Eibishter zal helfen, Kadosh Baruch Hu should help the present Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Malkiel, Shlita, together with the other Rosh Yeshiva, Shlita, to help carry on the burden of being mamshech, to continue the yeshiva, not only in its phenomenal growth in numbers, but also in the exceptional quality of everyone associated with the yeshiva. Be'ezras Hashem should be l'shem u'tiferes b'Yisrael.
I'd like to thank everybody for responding and supporting in the journal, and for all those who took out their time and effort to come here. I'd like to thank my dear wife and my family for inspiring me to go ahead with this. There are over 60 Sephardic boys learning in Lakewood Yeshiva, and I'd like to tell you the real story, how I got here. Rabbi Nahem and Louis Missry, who the three of us have a class every morning, about 2 months ago were telling me that I should accept this award. They were talking to me for about 15 or 20 minutes, and I kept telling him, it's not for me. I don't like to do these things. I don't like any honor. I don't want to impose upon anybody. Getting in the car, snow, rain, come to a hotel. Please leave me alone. They kept hounding me. I told them, you know something? I'll think about it. Got to get them off my back. I'll let you know. The next thing I know, the following Sunday, there's a milah in the Lakewood Yeshiva. Charlie Samas' grandson. Then someone from the yeshiva comes over to me and tells me, I've heard that you're going to accept the award. I tell him, no, you got the wrong guy. It's not me. Next year, maybe. I can't do it. Thank you very much. Rabbi Nahem, myself, and Louis Missry end up in the yeshiva for a class. We were looking for somewhere to learn. And there happens to be 600, 700, 800 people learning in the main building. I don't know how many. And I tell them, you're never going to find a seat. We go there, and there's 3 seats sitting empty in the middle of the room. We sit down and we proceed to have a class in learning. We ask Rabbi Nahem a question. He turns to the back of the book. Me and Louis look at each other. We look at the room. I ask my friend, how do they do it? How do they raise $7 million a year? $200,000 a day. Where do they get it from? We continue learning. That night I go home I get a call from the Rosh Yeshivah asking me if I would consider to accept this award. I tell him, Rabbi, I would love to do it, but I don't think I could do it. It's against my grain, against this. I go through the whole song and dance again. And I tell him, you know something? I'm going to really give this a real true effort. I'm going to ask my dear wife. I'll check my calendar and I'll get back to you. He told me, listen, if you don't do it, I understand. He was very, very soft sell. Because I know where you're coming from. And if you say no, don't feel bad. He made me feel very relaxed. Now the best part of the story. I go to work the next morning. My controller comes over to me the minute I walk into the door, and he tells me, we have a major problem. I have to speak to you. I have an emergency. I says, what can it be? Let's go into the room. Close the door. His face is white. He tells me we changed over our computer program about 2 months ago. And in so doing, the inventory on a computer overstated $1 million. And we borrowed money against this inventory. We do not have this inventory, he tells me. I tell him, you know, that's fraud. He says, I know. I says, you know, if the bank finds out before you tell them, we're in big trouble. He says, I know. I said, you get to the phone, you call the bank, and you tell them it's an honest error, that the computer messed up, there was a bug, we now found out, and we're only $1 million short in inventory, and we'll find a way to pay him back the money that we borrowed. You make some arrangements, you make your call, and tell him we'll work something out, we'll pay him back some way. Let me know what happens. When he left the room, I made my call. I called Rabbi Klein, I looked up, and I said, Hashem, you won, as you always do. And I concede. Okay? You have to need money to feel for someone else to need money. If you're not there in the same position, you can't feel it. So now you know the real story, how I got here. And I wanted to say, Baruch Hashem, that my son is learning in Lakewood Yeshivah. And we're all very proud of him. And Baruch Hashem, the problem with the bank has worked out. And Baruch Hashem, I think this year is the biggest year ever for the journal and the dinner. Shalom. Thank you.